Hi, welcome to Jeremy's Tech Channel. Today we're checking out OpenSuse Tumbleweed. I am in the middle of already trying to get OpenSuse Tumbleweed installed. I have never used this installer. I've never used OpenSuse, but I was curious about rolling releases. I'm using Arch Linux as a rolling release. Essentially, things are constantly getting updated all the time. I wanted to see if there were other distributions that were trying to do a rolling release format, not a point release like a Debian or Ubuntu. I stumbled upon OpenSuse Tumbleweed. While this is continuing to go on, I'm going to go to their web page here. The Tumbleweed distribution is a pure rolling release version of OpenSuse containing the latest stable versions of all software instead of relying on rigid periodic release cycles. The project does this for users that want the newest stable software. Cool. All right. Now this installer looks a little more familiar, even though I've never seen this. It looks like it's just working through and just doing the install. I chose the, let me show you here. You can do the network image, or you can do the offline image, and I chose the network image. So, the network image was only 205 megabytes. I'm guessing I'm going to go through and install right now what is needed versus going ahead and downloading it up front. Let's see here. Here's the license agreement. This is the second time I am needing to do an end user license agreement. The last time was with Deepin OS. This is the second time I'm doing a license agreement. So if you are concerned about doing an end user license agreement, you should be aware that OpenSuse has one. I was going to look for my system stuff. Activate online repositories. Yes, please. You've got these main repositories here. I'm going to leave it as default. I really am curious about someone doing a different kind of rolling release. And Arch does it really well. Initializing the installation. There wasn't really a live environment for this installation. So now looks like I am getting to choose the desktop environment. XFCE, GNOME, KDE Plasma, generic desktop, which I wonder what that actually means. Graphical system with reduced package set. Okay. Server, a small set of packages suitable for servers, and transactional server, but uses a read-only root file system. Okay, cool. Well, I am going to see what the XFCE version is like. And it looks like you can take the default partition. They have an expert partitioner here. You can start with proposal or existing partitions. You can go through a guided setup. I'm going to take the default here. And like I said, this is the online version, so it is needing to connect to a server. And now I'm going to create a user. Getting things ready to go. Now I'm seeing what my overview of what I am installing, which is a very nice thing to see. Install. Now is it starting installation. And I don't know how long this install process is going to take. Well, it's already 22% done. That's nice. So there's 4.3 gigabytes left, which I could have just gone ahead and downloaded the packages at the beginning with the offline mode. I'm not saving anything. It's here nor there. So I tell you what, at this rate, this is going to take a bit. This is going to take a little bit. So I will go ahead and speed this up and let this run, but I'm going to grab something to eat, and then I'll be right back. We'll speed it up. Okay, it's time to reboot. That took a little longer than expected. I would suggest going ahead and downloading the full ISO. All right, that was interesting. Gave me some time to read up. we are greeted with a welcome screen. If you've been with me for any amount of time, you know how I like me some welcome screens. As we were going through that install, I did some reading up and trying to remember, because I remember 15 plus years ago that I would go into Fry's Electronics. There would be these boxes for Suse Personal or Suse Professional desktop Linux. And I remember just unsure what was going on with that, but I do remember they used to sell those. I did some reading up, and that is what they used to do. OpenSuse was based on this Suse company. They originally had those purchase pieces before they started releasing the OpenSuse version. And what they would do is they would release their professional or personal versions, and then 2 months later, then release it. And they were hoping, let's see here, what does it say? It was only freely possible to retrieve the source code of the next release 2 months after it was ready for purchase. Suse Linux's strategy was to create a technically superior Linux distribution with a large number of employed engineers that would make users willing to pay for their distribution in retail stores. Okay, they were going for business model. They hired a whole bunch of engineers. By the way, this company was started in 1992 and Linux was started in 1991. They were already trying to leverage that open source project for business. I find that interesting. But they have this OpenSuse project. They started it with the initial release of Suse Linux 10.0. They were very much into KDE. I did do the XFCE version, but I thought that information was interesting, because how do you get from some company that is really trying to leverage good source code for enterprise purposes and end up coming out with this open source OpenSuse version. So we're going to poke around here. I've not used some of these tools like Yast, so we're going to figure those out together. We're going to poke around and see what we need to know. This initial welcome screen looks like it is tailored to the desktop environment, at least that you downloaded. So you can see here, there's the XFCE help, get software, documentation. There's a basics README. I'm going to click it real quick and see how basic this is. So it starts walking through some proprietary software, and it talks about not being able to include those as defaults, community repositories. All right, documentation, get software. Let's see what that does. It gives us a search. So it looks like it sends you to just a web browser, and then it's saying you can search for those packages. So if I search for Kdenlive, let's see what happens here. You get these pieces here and these different packages that are connected to it. We will see if we need that later. And we can customize. Oh, check it out. So they have some custom XFCE layouts right here from the welcome screen. That's cool. All right. So we got your Redmond, which I'm guessing is the Windows looking one. And you've got this one. Hey, looking a little Mac-like, still looking a little Mac-like, but a little different layout. And then your Unity looking one. By the way, it looks like there's some issues with this resolution drawing that out. You know me by now, and I will go with this layout. They have some themes here. All right. Light, dark. All right. Home. I like that. That is nice and clean and to the point. Thanks, guys. I'm going to go ahead and right-click real quick. And we are going to take a look at the desktop settings. You have your wallpapers here, your basic XFCE wallpapers, and it looks like one that comes with for Tumbleweed. You can mess with some menu selections and your icons. Do I want the default icons to show up on the desktop? Nah. Get this menu piece here. You've got Yast and a terminal command line and software here. The Thunar file manager, Firefox, and Thunderbird, all great pieces here. I am going to quickly take care of one piece that if you were sitting here like I am in front of the screen, it is a little bit annoying. So we're going to apply. We're going to keep this configuration. And I will scale it up here. I can scale it 2 times the size. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. This is not 2 times the size. This is like scaling like the other direction. No, thank you. Normally when I'm thinking scaling, I'm thinking making the icons and things larger and keeping the same resolution. But that is not what that is. That is not what that is. And now I know. And now I won't do that again. So let's continue on. You have your basic menu layout and your system tray ready and available for you. I like the clean nature of this. I am resisting the urge to go through a couple of pieces here because it looks like there's a lot of Yast menu items here besides just the package manager. You have this Yast Windows domain membership, which I'm guessing is great if you're dealing with an enterprise situation at a company. User and group management. Looks like you can get some vendor-specific drivers. There's a software repository. They have a sound application. Okay, it looks like I have to put in a password to open up this sound application. So it's just actually configuring your audio device. That is fine. And a nice tool. They've added these tools, date and time, file system snapshots. Let's take a look at that. They're requesting passwords every time I am requesting anything from this Yast menu. Might be a little annoying in one sense. Let's create a snapshot and we'll call it Jeremy's first. A single snapshot. All right. And it's created this snapshot here. That is pretty great. I'm telling you, that's pretty great. What is this Yast add-on products? Let's take a look. And you got to put in your password because this is accessing the root structure here. It looks like this is adding repositories. That's what it looks like to me. Download repository description files. Okay. That's great. A nice little helper tool to make that happen. There also was the system log. Sure, I wanted to be a part and check out and see what services were started. This looks like some great tools to start poking around and figure out what might have happened if you're having some issues. Okay, what's this Yast alternatives? If you have some of these configured to have some extra pieces, like maybe you're using a different display manager instead of LightDM, you're using something else, or the desktop here. You can do that here. I don't know why, but I'm sure there's a reason that I just don't understand. Yes, bootloader. Configure the bootloader. Okay, I guess it's not a Grub bootloader, it's the Yast bootloader. It was nice and fine and dandy and all that kind of stuff. AppArmor configuration. What is this? So AppArmor, I'm having to read what it is because I don't know what it is. It is a Linux kernel security module that allows the system administrator to restrict programs' capabilities with per program profiles. Profiles can allow capabilities like network access, raw socket access, and the permission to read, write, or execute files on matching paths. Okay. AppArmor supplements the traditional Unix discretionary access control model by providing mandatory access control. If you're an admin, you're going to love that. I find it interesting that there's all of these professional tools ready for you here if that's your need. For me, I don't know. You got this Yast install VM. You can install Zen or KVM with management tools. Okay, very cool, which doesn't matter to me because it's literally on a virtual machine. It's like, hey bro, I heard you like virtual machines, so let's put a virtual machine on your virtual machine. But I'm not going to do that today. Although that might be an interesting video to see how many virtual machines I could go through on a virtual machine and see how long it would take before my system would crash. I'm guessing not that much. So let's see here. Yast online update. Yast network. Okay, read that information. Oh, I see what it's saying. Network is currently being handled by the network manager or completely disabled. Okay, very cool. So if you don't need this tool, either this tool or the network manager needs to be used. So you can't have both running at the same time. If the network manager is running the network, we are fine with that. No problems here. This is a new thing for me to see. I've never gotten to see this before. I've never been on this system before. Now we've got our software management and software repositories here. I will come back to those. One thing I do want to see is this task manager here and see what we've got going on. It looks like 1 gigabyte is being used, which for an XFCE install is kind of large. Let's see here. Let's go to the terminal. Let's just see if top is installed. There we go. And this is saying 746 megabytes are being used, which means that application and whatever processes or services are needed to run that application adds another, 200 plus megabytes of RAM. I guess if you got the resources, it don't matter, right? One of the things that's driving me mad is the window. The window decoration is not working with a dark theme. So if you will just oblige, let me go through and make some changes here. So now back into these pieces here, you have print settings, software. Anywho, I switched the theme real quick. I'm having a hard time seeing some of these windows. I just want to get through and check some of this stuff out. That's all I want to do. I just want to go out and see this stuff. Okay, they have this favorites folder, which they've got the basics here that you have available for you. And let's go ahead and take a look at the Yast software. And I tell you what, let's search for something we know, like I searched earlier on that web piece. Kdenlive is there. I'm going to go ahead and select it. I'm going to accept. Okay, it says installation is completely finished. They put it in multimedia, that's fine. Kdenlive opens up, ready to go. Cool, dude. So that piece works. Now, if I wanted to install a piece of software via the terminal, I am going to check and see. I think it's essentially the same thing. Sudo, and I'm guessing Yast since that's their jam. And then I'm looking here, list. Okay. Let me use the power of the internet. Sudo, yes, it looks like definitely it's a instruction here. I bet htop will not be even in their basic repositories. No. Oh, I didn't type Yast right. Okay, it is. Okay, so sudo yast, then -I for installation, and then the package name, and then you are going to get that. So now if I type in htop, there's htop. Cool. Okay, so it's just like any other package manager piece here. And then I need to check and see a couple of pieces here. I do like this favorites folder. Application finder, what's that? Okay, so finding these applications that I'm guessing are already on. Wonderful. Accessories, catfish, file search the files. Okay, sorry. Passwords and keys, education. You've got LibreOffice on here. You've got GIMP on here. You've got Firefox. We already saw Thunderbird. You've got transmission, a VNC viewer here, the Tiger one. You have Pulse Audio, okay. Parole Media Player. I don't have anything to quickly play this. If you know something about the Parole Media Player that I don't, and it's something special that I should know about, please put it in the comments. Otherwise, I'm going to move on. They've got a dictionary and document viewer with LibreOffice, and then back to our pieces here. Power Manager and the likes. Settings Manager. Now, this is a much more usable collection of those configuration pieces, including Yast. So this whole control center here allows for your online updates. Actually, let me see if I can make this bigger for you. Will it redraw? Okay, cool. You have got your ability to change your repositories, online updates, configure your hardware, configure all of these pieces that we went through individually on the menu. You have them grouped together right here, including a firewall, security center, all of the things that you expect to be able to do. Then you see this install a driver from a vendor specific medium. I don't have that because I'm using an open source piece here and I don't have like an NVIDIA card that I need to make that happen. But you do have a partitioner here. I like having these pieces set up and connected in a condensed form. And all of these here, I don't know if you can see when I click on these menus on the left, they get highlighted on the right. So software, hardware, and I guess it's just allowing you to quickly skip down to these other pieces here. Very good. Remember file system snapshots, your systemd journal. those pieces because this is a rolling release. Now, is it easy to install software? Yeah. Let me just poke around just a hair more. Ooh, check this out. I think this is XFCE specific, and I don't have a bunch of random files, but you can add a file, and then if you need to rename a whole bunch of files, this is here, bulk rename. If you're doing what I'm doing, I have now, multitude of video files and images, and being able to quickly and easily go through and rename those, or if you have a bunch of MP3s, that's cool, man. So what were my first impressions of OpenSuse Tumbleweed? Well, the install process, I definitely would choose just getting the whole ISO. You're not saving yourself any space or time by choosing the web version. I thought maybe I would be able to pick and choose some of those packages. And you did get to choose your desktop environment before you hit that install, but it still needed to install another 4.3 gigabytes worth of information, which is totally fine and totally understandable. I just misunderstood what that was about. The ability to have a customized XFCE desktop through that welcome screen was great. I liked it. They essentially said, we know some of y'all like Mac, some of y'all like Windows, some of y'all like your own thing, and here's a way for us to kind of theme those quickly for you. The other thing is the Yast tools that are definitely geared towards enterprise or companies or organizations or an administrator dealing with multiple computers to be able to manage those. That was very, very cool and pretty robust and unique to the OpenSuse and the Suse Linux group. If I decided to put all of the devices, I've got many computers on my home network, and to have some of those tools available, if I put everyone on that and wanted to work that way to support them, that might be a really great option. If you are in that situation, you should consider it. Other than that, it seems a little... The term is bloated. Really, I've used some other XFCE distributions, put them on virtual machines, and they're normally running around 500 gigabytes of memory usage. This was more in the 750, and then one of their applications shoots it up another 250 megabytes. This probably, even the XFCE version, may not be a good choice for users that have low resources, so you should be aware of that. I can see the appeal here. No, this isn't like going to the old computer store and being able to buy a box version of Linux like we were able to a long time ago with Suse having that available. What sets this apart? Like I said, those administrative tools. If that's important to you, then you should definitely look down this. And I brought up the box and all of that because in my mind, I'm thinking, who is this for? And if you have been using Suse, whether on a server or on a desktop for years, you are going to feel very comfortable with these tools, which were very straightforward. I mean, it took me, a 10-second look on a search engine to be able to find what I needed to be able to quickly and easily install a package. It's a full and robust way to have all of these administrative features and software applications. Thank you for those. If you're interested in OpenSuse, I will put it in the description below. I hope to see you tomorrow.